and I want to thank you all for joining us. I want to point out that one of our goals with the entire Redistrict Arizona program is to improve participation and increase participation in the redistricting process. And the fact that we have 48 folks joining in on a webinar to learn how to use this is already tenfold more, I say, well, than the numbers of folks that we had involved in 10 years ago in terms of actual mapping. The Arizona Competitive Districts Coalition has a goal. Our goal is we believe we can see a greater number of competitive districts in Arizona and still protect the Voting Rights Act. The Independent Redistricting Commission's job is to meet 6 important criteria for redistricting, and it's supposed to do that and involve the public as well. While we have our goal is twofold: improve participation, increase participation in the process, but also increase the number of competitive districts while protecting the Voting Rights Act. Even though we'd like to increase the number of competitive districts, we have this tool available for you no matter where you come from. If you are right wing, center, left, if you're Tea Party, Coffee Party, Tea Party, we don't care. We want everyone to be able to use this tool and get the most out of it. So I want to, first, a little bit of housekeeping before we get too far into this. I want to introduce to you Abby Fritz, who's with Azavia Incorporated, which is the organization that built this mapping tool for you all to use. And she's going to tell you a little bit about the background of this, and she's going to go through how the entire software works. Before I start that, I want to tell you a little bit about some of the questions that you're going to maybe have regarding during this process. You can send your questions. There's a little space for you to ask your questions, and we're going to try and collect them and ask them at the end of each chapter. This presentation is broken up into a number of chapters, and we'll try and get as many of them answered as possible, understanding we don't have a whole lot of time to go over everything we need to do. We are going to be recording this presentation so that we'll be able to put it up as a video on YouTube. Down the road, you'll be able to go on and review what we've done so that if you're having problems using the system. And at the end of this presentation, we're going to provide to you the URL that will allow you to go online and start using the mapping tool. We've not provided that thus far because were we to do that, too many people would be getting on the system right now, and the system would force us to throttle the number of people that are on there, and it would slow our presentation down. So watch for that at the end. As I said before, this is a significant change in Arizona, in America. Being able to use this software and make presentations and save your ideas and share your ideas with other people and build stakeholder groups around different maps, it's unheard of. The technology is here for us to use, and we're one of the first states that's going to actually have a contest to see who will do the best job of meeting all 6 redistricting criteria. And that's huge. And you're all part of a grand experiment here, and we're very grateful that you're here with us. So I'm going to pass it over to Abby, who's going to be able to tell you a little bit more about, by the way, Abby is in Philadelphia, so I want to thank her on behalf of everybody for being up at 9:30 at night to help us with this webinar. But Abby, why don't you go ahead and get started.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Ken. My name is Abby Fretz. I work for Azavia Incorporated. We are a software development company that specializes in geospatial software design, GIS, basically all things maps. We do a lot of spatial analysis and develop web-based software to analyze data and put it up in an understandable way on the web that people can interact with. We were approached about a year ago by two principals on this project who had received funding and wanted to build a piece of open source software that was available to the general public and would be easily replicable in different states. The one principal, Dr. Michael McDonald, is from George Mason University, and he has a long-standing interest in research around redistricting law. And he partnered with Dr. Michael Altman, a senior research scientist at Harvard University. And they both very much wanted to build this piece of software, make it easy to use and easily accessible by anybody who wanted to get involved in the redistricting process, or just experiment, to learn a little bit more about what goes into redistricting. The software that you see on your screen, I'm just going to get started now and launch into basically a demonstration, a little bit of a training session to walk you through the steps of using the software. The software is available to anybody and everybody. The first step in using the software is actually signing up for an account. And as you can see here, there are two options. You can either sign up for an account. Accounts allow users to save plans, create plans, keep them in their account, and access them later. You can log out, come back to your account, and you will still have all of the plans you created. You can also, as a user with an account, you can share your plans with other people, and you can also upload plans, download saved plans. So it really does give you, having an account gives you a lot more functionality than entering as a guest. Entering as a guest is useful if you're not so interested in actually editing maps and creating boundaries. You can enter as a guest, view other people's maps that they've shared. If other people have not shared their maps with the general public and they have them as private maps on their account, nobody else will see them. But if you enter as a guest, you can get a feel for the software before you start editing. The first step, like I said, is signing up. And it's a very simple sign-up process. You simply choose a username, and I'm going to choose Abby. And you choose a password, and there are some rules here for passwords. Have to be 8 or more characters, include a number, capital letter, and a lowercase letter. So I'm going to choose my password now and just confirm that. And it requires a password hint. I'm just going to say test here. You can enter your email address, first name, last name, and organization as well. And then you can read through the privacy policy and terms of use, check that off, and then sign up for an account. And it says I've been registered and I can now start mapping. And it will take me into the first step. I'm actually going to switch over to another window. This is an account that I've actually used before to create a number of plans, and I can now share these plans with you. The first step that you are taken into here is the choose a plan step. There are a number of options for you to choose a plan and start drawing. Before I get into choosing a plan, I would like to talk a little bit about the data that sits behind the scenes that actually generates the information that you're going to be seeing on your map. We upload map files of a number of different geographies. We upload the census block files as well as census tracts and counties. And you'll see later on in the demonstration that at any given point you can zoom in and out on the map to get to those different levels to use for editing. Along with each of those individual blocks that have a unique ID generated by the census is all of the voter registration data that we have, as well as demographic data released by the census. So all of the data sitting behind the software is the most recent data from the 2010 census, as well as some historic election data.